And there we go. And then it hits me. One of those many things I don't think I brought up, that it was a connection between something I've even read to you guys and something many of you will be able to substantiate through your own knowledge of history and where we are right now. One, Hayek, the chapter, Why Do the Worst Get on Top? That chapter is very, I mean, we're there. The worst are on top now. We are really dealing with not just sort of a criminal and insane group of people with the Democrats, but with the Republicans, we're dealing with people that in many cases, the reason why so many of them are going along with Biden, they're trying to really just weather what they see as this short period of time that the party's internal mechanisms, the way that locals can vote for things, that they're like, no, we could put a lid back on this. This is becoming kind of obvious. The Republicans know, they're like, we could put a lid on real people voting for the people they want in our party. The Democrats already have that. They showed that with the Bernie Sanders issue, that at a certain level, their members of their party don't have power over the party, and that it's built in. It's built into the cake. A way that you could see that this is not just built into the cake, you could see this is a feature, not a bug, is what just happened to Emma Vigeland. Emma Vigeland went on Tim Pool's show, and it was really pretty darn good how Tim lined this up. Because, Tim Pool's a nice guy. Tim Pool is the guy who's willing to take the beating into the ropes until he comes back and just smashes you. And he did. He obviously was that guy that he was like, I'm willing to let the match keep going because you're not really landing any leather. But the minute I hit you back, you better be ready because you really unloaded. And Vigeland had nothing, because what Tim did is he went straight for the solar plexus, or maybe in this case it would have been the lunar plexus. He basically pointed out how, and this applies to the Young Turks as well, this applies to the Ring of Fire, the host of the Ring of Fire, this applies to almost everybody who is left of center. They're boring. They're boring and they're irritating. At the most basic way of putting it, they're boring and they're irritating. This is why nobody has Sam Seder on. Sam Seder is at best irritating. He can't deal with some of his views have no actual evidence to support them. He can't deal with that. Basically, Sam is one of these people who you kind of feel a little bad for if you watch him over like a decade, that he's like kind of quintessentially like, I mean, he's one of the Jewish Jews who's ever Jewed, but it's just that he's not that smart, so he can't even really use, like, say with the Young Turks. Now the Young Turks have a team, so they can gin up numbers, weave the numbers together into whatever magic carpet they want to take their audience to. Sam can't do that. Sam can't gin up numbers and weave it together so that it makes him sound like he has evidence. He can't do that. He's just not that good. He's not that smart. Period. And when it comes to him being a comedian, I mean, have you ever heard of him nailing? I mean, he's not funny either. And now I want to make sure to mention, nobody has ever really shat on Sam Seder. Like Steven Crowder did, because Sam pulled some shenanigans on him with the mutant of Lvov, one of these mutants of Lvov, fucking Ethan Klein. And him and his wife are just they're these bizarre stereotypes, like, that you're kind of like, I mean, could you just rub your hands together? I mean, holy crap. And cackle at baffling the goys, but nobody criticizes Sam because there's no point. The fact that he's never invited on, there's no people important to the party who ever talked to the Young Turks, ever talked to the Ring of Fire, or ever talked to Sam Cedar. The reason why is because, of course, at some point they're going to ask what is fundamentally a stupid-ass socialist question. And they're going to force a Democratic Party member to have to side with a really stupid-ass idea from the socialists, and nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to get caught on their show saying something like that. And also because probably, one, there's probably something about Sam Cedar being irritating. He probably irritates people within the Democratic Party, and that's why they don't want him on. Because, I mean, you could see they will interview with lots of different people, but they will not. I've watched this dude for a decade. Sam can't get anyone to touch his show. Even Janine Garofalo left. His own... but then, beyond all that, so now it's a matter of, okay, so the mass movement that they were attempting, one of the key things about this is that anybody who read Eric Hoffer's True Believer, Nature of Mass Movements, Thoughts on the Nature of Mass Movements, you will know one of the key things about a mass movement is you need people to join it. Like, I was worried about this with people on the right, and to some degree, men changing their lifestyle to be more like Donald Trump, until you start to see more and more reports of, I no longer drink like Donald Trump. I no longer take the drugs that I was raised on, behavior drugs like Donald Trump. I'm now sober. So then I'm like, okay, this isn't even a mass movement. This is an indicator of mass movement. This is actually more of an indicator of a cult of personality. And those come and go. Especially for men. Men very rarely stick with a cult of personality for a really long time. That's hard to do for guys. You have to keep it fresh. You have to keep marketing the new thing. That's why there's gurus. And so, but a mass movement like the Democratic Party, where they're promising people, we are going to do something that's amorphous, it's opaque, it's mystical, it's political mysticism, it's political Gnosticism, that there's this thing we're going to do that's going to elevate society. And one of the groups that they need are the ultimate sinners, the worst of the worst criminals. And they need to be let out of prison so that we could redeem them with our magical Democratic Party powers, which is really, at its essence, is a lot of old liberal white women think they have magical powers and that they could finally make their wayward sons, their drug-addicted sons, their loser sons, real men. They have the power. They always had the power to change the husband they divorced, or the one who got away, into the Prince Charming they always wanted. A big part of this is female women wanting to actually be capable. And this is political action that they think, well, I've been relatively incapable most of my life, and not good looking and not likable, so I couldn't keep a man. So and I was poorly socialized, so I wouldn't do what it took to keep a man. And so now I have this movement that I'm married to, that and so now I can make men serve me. Me and these other women in the secret society of the Democratic Party are going to make, especially these lowlives who are in prison, serve us. And so a lot of guys who are of the criminal class need to understand this, especially a lot of black men need to understand these are women who see black men as intrinsically a part of the criminal class, Now they might be, no, they're the underdogs because they've been oppressed. But why do white liberal chicks always think that what's going to happen is a white man or a police officer or both are going to come along and do something to you? Like, why do they think that, like, black men are killed by police and rando white guys when black men are murdered by black men? And sometimes black women, more likely than not. And it really is this matter of, well, no, you see, you're a martyr for the cause then. You're a living sacrifice to the cause. It really is some of the sickest, most savage mix of mysticism and savage religion humanly possible. But the criminal, and then the idea of the esteem for the criminal. So one of the things about this is you get these people who come over from the ghettos of Europe, and they don't trust anybody. They have nobody on their side. And I have to legitimately, when the Jews come out of the ghettos and they end up in America, that their memory of having no one on their side is a big deal. Jews of Europe were whittled down to 350 people, not 350,000, not 3,500, 350 people. And they had to become a group again from that. Now, this is the Ashkenazi, so this is not the Sephardi, this is not the, the ones in Persia, in Middle East. I'm forgetting. The Mizrahi, not them. It might even not necessarily pertain to the Romaniyot, who would have been like Greco-Romans. But so this group, they're fundamentally like the Irish, just way more used to living sort of however it takes to survive. A lot of common law, not something that would have been a thing that they would have benefited from. So they would have known what it is and benefited from it. It's like that's the British Jews, that's the German Jews, but not the Eastern Europeans. And so you get these people who, when they come over here, and it shows through the writings of movies and TV shows, people forget the noir period of American movies because we stopped making them. The whole pursuit of the communists caused the noir movies to stop being made. And we forgot about all of the shows and movies that were made about being Jews, being normal Jewish people. People don't remember this. Like, there's shows that I never even heard of, going way, way back, that were like that. And movies that it was like the normal life of one of these people. Like, also, there's the issue of the control by the rabbis, that the rabbinical control of a lot of your life, a lot of what you did. When you went to the bathroom, there's literally a little prayer to be said afterward. So to come out of a life like that, to come to a place where, it is like a free-for-all, and that there is so much opportunity, and so this is a people just not quite adapted to it, and so they're constantly looking for a threat against specifically them, quite specifically them, and I think when it comes to a mass movement, I think I think we're seeing something that they can't be in a mass movement, because they're really exceedingly self-interested and self-concerned. There's a number. This is why I'm thinking no. The alliance of allies can't function as an effective mass movement, because all these groups are groups that at some point look at each other and say, no, I've got it worse than you. So far with the right, no matter, and anybody is more than willing to debate another person over it. and openly, with frankness, they're willing to, oh, you got it worse than me, well, let's debate, and I know there's, oh, let's debate, bro, kind of thing, but no, really, the right is more than willing to debate each other over things they disagree on. The left does not do that. They and to the point that it's a weakness now in their side of politics, that they have people within the Democratic Party who are extremely, they disagree with each other tremendously, and they can't talk about, they don't agree with each other because it's both racism and sexism and something else. So there's not, at some point it's going to, that their alliance is going to collapse, because there is a stage that it's like, no, they can amass. It's just that at some point they have their own goals. Every group has their own political goals. While if the idea is the preservation of the constitutional republic, that's one goal, but many different groups aiming toward it. And fundamentally, that's a bit easier to do. It's just a matter of that the Republicans lack a leadership that really believes in that goal. That's very obvious. There's the leadership of the Republican Party does not believe in the defense of the republic, of the constitutional republic. They are more than willing to see something happen to the nature of the constitutional republic, and allow, I guess, the Democrats to write some new shit version of the Constitution or something, or really what it is the administrative state. That there's too many Republicans that they, as professionals, as boomers, as old Gen Xers, they benefit from the administrative state. Like the Democrats have now gotten rich on jobs they voted in for themselves. And subsidies they voted in for themselves, like subsidies for electric cars. That's why you see around Democratic enclaves not just a lot of electric cars, but this idea that there's something incredibly superior about them too. Anyone who knows the science knows, no, actually these are on net all forms of this sustainable energy, anything, are worse than are more wasteful than those than their carbon carbon-based fuel alternatives. That basically the combustion motor keeps winning, gas, oil keeps winning. It's just that you have to do bad math and not understand physics to say that sustainable is sustainable. Bad math, worse physics. So, and really abysmal economics. So it's liars, criminals, obfuscators, at best, citing data from opaque sources that aren't very credible. They're people who indicate everything that would be criminal behavior. They are so you hang with 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one. When you see somebody do something, that's who they are. This is the issue with the Democratic Party. They're going soft on criminals. Why? Well, it's because that's what we are. We're helping our own. That is really what it is. And so they really don't like the idea of there being law and order. They like the idea that they're kind of like a gang that can just say when something's okay, as if they kind of own the streets. Which during the BLM and Antifa rioting, they had said that. They said that literally, whose streets are streets. And so, Vigeland really basically is this kind of demented, one of these demented white liberal women who thinks that, like, if she hangs with the homies, she's like down, or something, it's a, how can I be down, and, and it's kind of sad. It's sad when like you meet people like this in the early days of hip hop. You met people like this, people who really, they didn't understand that they shouldn't try to hang with the boys, and like they shouldn't try to be in the boys club. There were people you would meet like that. There were people who could hang, but there's people who it's like, no, this isn't for you, and like, this is weird that you're sitting here listening to hip hop with all of us and trying to be down, and so you run into people like that, and so Vigeland really sort of kind of epitomized this, and Poole really called her on it in a way that was fantastic, and really embarrassed her. I mean, that was full humiliation, full felting, total tabling, and so one of the important things about that is that's not going to be forgotten. She is never going to forget that. I bet Sam, all those guys, none of them, no one, Hassan, no matter Fat Phony isn't that hot of a take, but I guarantee you he doesn't like that he got that smashed, and that everybody is talking about how, and that the way Dr. Disrespect did it, it was fucking funny. That was some funny shit. The crying, and then I got nothing. He, him in my bio. That's what did it. That's what makes everybody lose it. Everything else is, it's like, oh, okay. But then when he goes, I got him in my bio, and I got nothing else, and that was funny. That was legit fucking hilarity. Yeah, so the mass movements like theirs, one, don't like the humiliation. Now, on the right, what the issue really is now is that people on the right, there needs to be sources on the right that start grilling the normie Republicans who don't get that. Either you're trying to openly defend the constitutional republic, or you're just somebody getting in the way. You're just trying to get on in the senior executive service program and sell missiles to somebody, or you're trying to get in the grift. That's why so many of them don't want the federal departments cut, because they know where their future money is coming from. They know they can't write a book. They know they can't go back to their state legislatures for whatever reason. You're not allowed to ever go back to your state legislature. Like it's some, like you're marrying down or something like that when you do that. I don't get it. But that's going to have to happen. That like, why aren't you all doing something about this when you have overwhelming evidence that you must? That you this is a threat to the constitutional republic. With the Democrats, their whole thing now is they've got to keep their own people from killing each other. This is really like pretty wild what's starting to happen. The Democrats don't want to discuss what we knew was coming among black male Twitter, YouTube people. We knew that the rainbow thing was not going to work for black men. We said it. I said it. Other people said it. They're like, and then Lord Jamar told everyone. BLM is a white homosexual movement, not a black movement. And he's 5%. Like when somebody is that openly 5%, that famously 5%, you have to give respect to the gods. That's who he's speaking for. He's telling you what this group of men think. And what it was is that no white liberals knew what the 5% nation was. They don't know anything about black American culture outside of what they've heard in rap music, because they're trying to be down. And it's also because they believe their movement is the culture itself. It is this unbelievable level of self-importance that oh no, we could just replace the nation of gods and earths with, the new thing. And we're going to come up with it. Or some big bald black chick is going to come up with it, and all the men are going to go along with it. And now you're seeing how even Umar Johnson is having a hard time dealing with the fact that really he knows how the fucking bread gets baked in Black America. That it's like, unless a whole bunch of angry loud hoes like you, better than the other guy who's advocating for something better, that's what happens. It's Umar Johnson is fundamentally setting up kind of this thing of go along with the Democratic black activists in the black community, you stupid dudes. You don't know better. Listen to the women. They'll lead us. They won't lead us astray this time. They won't raise a generation of failed men this time. And that it'll be this thing of, oh, well, you could just blame the men for not voting Democratic for the fact that these women contiguously fail. All right, later.